going to help me ask you some questions as we go through, just so I know that you know what you're reading about, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Open up to the first chapter.
Josh and I hated our new house. Sure, it was big. It looked like a mansion compared to our old house. It was a tall red brick house with a sloping black roof and rows of windows framed by black shutters. It's so dark, I thought, studying it from the street. The whole house is covered in darkness, as if it was hiding in the shadows of the gnarled old trees that bent over it.
You know what, this makes me think of a good question to ask you. Does this remind you of anything?
There's this one movie, and it's about this haunted mansion, and the ghosts, they don't want the people to leave. So the dad really wants it, but then the mom's like, no, it's like an okay house, we can like stay here. But then like the ghosts keep like haunting them, and like when they go into a room, then they'll just like find a ghost.
Oh, so just like this first part's already having you make a connection to like a haunted house kind of movie you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, let's keep going.
It was the middle of July, but dead brown leaves blanketed the front yard. Our sneakers crunched over them as we trudged up the gravel driveway. Tall weeds poked up everywhere through the dead leaves. Thick clumps of weeds had completely overgrown an old flower bed beside the front porch. This house is creepy, I thought unhappily. Josh must have been thinking the same thing looking up at the old house. We both groaned loudly. Mr. Dawes, the friendly young man from the local real estate office, stopped near the front walk and turned around. Everything okay? He asked, staring first at Josh, then at me. With his crinkly blue eyes, Josh and Amanda aren't happy about moving, Dad explained, tugging his shirt tail. Dad is a little overweight, and his shirts always seem to be coming untucked.
Okay, this seems like a good spot for this question. So I have two. So who are the characters so far?
Josh, Amanda, Mr. Dawes, and the dad.
And the dad. Awesome. And who do you think so far is telling the story?
I think Josh is.
You think Josh is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. We think Josh. We'll see if we come across anything that answers our question.
It's hard for the kids, my mother added at Mr. Dawes, her hands shoved into her jeans pockets as she continued up to the front door. You know, leaving all of their friends behind, moving to a strange new place. Strange is right, Josh said, shaking his head. This house is gross, Mr. Dawes chuckled. It's an old house, that's for sure, he said, patting Josh on the shoulder. It needs some work, Josh, Dad said, smiling at Mr. Dawes. No one has lived in it for a while, so it'll take some fixing up.
Okay, let's pause for 1 second. This seems like a good question. What is the problem so far?
They don't really the son and they don't really like it because it's like really old and it doesn't look like a really nice house, but it's really big, so they like it because of that. It's just a really old house because no one's lived in it.
Yeah, and if you notice too, Mom said it just needs some fixing up, and so that's probably part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, look at how big it is.
Look how big it is, Mom added, smoothing back her straight black hair, smiling at Josh. We'll have room for a den and maybe a rec room, too. You like that? Wouldn't you, Amanda? I shrugged. I think Amanda's telling this story.
Awesome. I love that you corrected that. Why do you think that?
Because it said, wouldn't you, Amanda? And then she said, I shrugged.
Great. So we know not Josh, but Amanda is the author. So the story is coming from Amanda's perspective. Awesome. Let's finish up the page.
A cold breeze made me shiver. It was actually a beautiful, hot summer day. But the closer we got to the house, the colder I felt. I guessed it was because all of the tall old trees. I was wearing white tennis shorts and a sleeveless blue t-shirt.
All right, we're going to stop right there. Can you summarize what happened so far and what you read?
So they got to the house, and then Josh and Amanda were like, why do we have to move here? It's like an old, like, crusty house with, like, old trees. And then the parents were like, it needs some fixing up, but, like, it will still be good. And Mr. Dawes agreed with the mom. But, then they were like, the mom was like, oh, we could have, like, a rec room and, a sunroom. And she was like, wouldn't you like that, Amanda? And and Amanda's not really like still happy about moving, so
Right.
she doesn't really know.
So mom was like trying to make it positive. Awesome. So what I'm gonna have you do, Layla, for your work by yourself is you're going to read the one more page on your own, and then we're gonna go through one question from each box, and I'm gonna have you answer each question after what you read. Okay?
Okay.